Hey, welcome back to Mr. Mick's Classroom. I'm Mr. Mick, and today again we're going over the FAA Part 107 drone exam because you want to take the drone exam so you can fly your drone for commercial or work purposes, and therefore you need to pass the exam. Last time we left off with going over some practice questions, and that's what we're going to do again today. I want to do some more practice questions, and then in the next video I am going to get to weather. I know you all have been asking about weather. There's a lot on weather, but I wanted to get some of these practice questions out because a few people put in the comments that they found them helpful. So getting them out to you. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started so we don't get these videos too long. Sometimes these videos get long. So anyway. All right, let's just start off right here at the top. This is actually a test I made. Some of the tests I got from other sources, but this is one I made. On a sectional chart, what is the color of the airport runway area if the airport does not have a control tower? So you're going to actually see this on the Airman chart supplement. So this is the Airman knowledge testing supplement. And what they do for you here is near the beginning, this is what they'll give you when you go to take the test. You'll have this legend. Use this. They'll have questions similar to this on the test where you can come over here to the legend and get your answer. And right here, it tells you your answer. So if it's in blue, it means that that airport has a control tower, right? Has an air traffic control tower. If it is in magenta, whatever color you want to call that, that means that that air traffic control center, that airport does not have air traffic control. They do not have an air traffic control tower. This is like, yeah, that's what that means. Do they have a tower or not? If it's in magenta, it means that if you're a pilot and you're landing in that airport, it's probably a smaller airport. Actually, it is a small airport. It's going to be an Echo airport. And you're going to probably have to use something like CTAF or some other radio communication like Unicom in order to communicate with other pilots so they know you're landing or you know they're landing so you don't run into each other. If it's in blue, then air traffic control is going to communicate with you. Sometimes my students will ask me things like, why do I need to know this? I'm flying a drone, and this is clearly for manned aircraft. Look, I didn't make the test. The FAA made the test. And the reality is there's a lot of manned aircraft questions on this test, a lot. And sometimes they'll word questions like an unmanned fixed-wing aircraft, but really the question's like, oh, drone pilot's not really going to be affected by this. But they want you to know, the reality is they want you to know about manned aircraft, because if the FAA is concerned about anything, they don't want you to run your drone into a manned aircraft. That's what they're most worried about, is because when airplanes crash, people die, and that's what they do not want. So they are going to ask you a lot of manned aircraft questions, even though you're flying a drone. That's just what it is, okay? All right, so we're going to use a lot of the testing supplement in this question. I'll put this in the link description below so you have it. Here, let's see, figure 24, section 6. You are flying your drone 250 feet AGL, above ground level, east of the Commerce Airport. What type of airspace are you in? Let's find out. So, figure 24. What I like to do when I come over here is I like to go over to contents. This thing loads slow because there's like 113 pages. So I just come over here and it loads way faster. Figure 24, click on that. All right, great. Brings us to figure 24. Now I got to flip this thing around, which sometimes is slow, and just bear with it. It's just slow. Okay. Cool. All right, figure 24. All right, this is where I want to be, and I believe it said Area 6. You were flying your drone 250 feet AGL east of the Commerce Airport. What type of airspace are you in? So let's find that 2F7, 2 Foxtrot 7. And this looks like it right here. Okay, great question. This is a great question. Okay, so what airspace is this? If you want to pause the video and answer that yourself, go ahead and do that now. But I'll go ahead and tell you, a shaded magenta circle, if you want to call that a circle, is Class Echo airspace. But there's something special about this. In this airspace, let me see if I can find a example of the other type of Class Echo. So there's two types of Class Echoes I talk about in a different video. If you want to go in that video and look, they don't have the other one here. But in this Class Echo, it's a shaded magenta. So that means that the airspace doesn't start until 700 feet AGL. If there was a dashed magenta line here, then that would mean that the airspace starts at ground level. And again, go back and look at my video on that. I have another video that talks in depth about that so you can see it. But so therefore, if you're flying over here, say wherever, over here in the Commerce Airport, then you're fine. You can fly at 250 feet AGL. You are not in Class Echo airspace. You're in Class Gulf airspace, which is the unregulated airspace. Remember, G, Gulf, good. That's where you as a drone pilot can fly without ATC permission. So let me move this out of the way here. So yeah, if you're flying over here, you're totally fine. You do not need ACT permission. If you get above 700 feet, now you need ATC permission because now you're in Echo airspace. If this had a dashed magenta line around it, then you'd be at Echo airspace and ground level, and you would need ATC permission. So just be aware of that. So the answer here would be Gulf airspace because you're only at 250 AGL and it's a shaded magenta circle. Which airspace class is the area you can fly your drone without ATC permission or a waiver? And the answer here is Gulf. So we just talked about that. So G is in Gulf. Be familiar with that military, phonetical alphabet. You'll need to know that. So Gulf airspace is the one you do not need to get ATC permission. If you're in any other airspace, you're not going to fly in Class A. That's 18,000 feet MSL. You're not going to fly your drone that high. But all the others, if you're in those airspaces, you need ATC permission. You're violating the law if you do not have ATC permission and you're flying in those airspaces. Let's continue. You've been hired to inspect a tower in Class E airspace. Who will you need to receive permission from in order to fly your drone in Class Echo airspace? Air traffic control. This one, again, the FAA likes to trick you. Who runs air traffic control? The FAA. But the correct answer here is air traffic control. Even if you're flying in a military air base or a military area, you still don't contact the area for the military for permission. You contact the ATC that oversees that area, the air traffic controls that oversees that area, not the military. In this image, what does the dashed magenta line with the number 11 in it indicate? So we actually saw this in the last one too. I was going to get to it, but I knew this one was coming. So let me show it over here as well. So in this one, you see this dashed magenta line, and maybe in that last question you were thinking, hey, there is a dashed magenta line. Doesn't that mean it starts at the Echo airspace, starts at ground level? No, no, no. This is not airspace. This is just the line. And what this is indicating, and it's the same as this over here, what this dashed magenta line right here is indicating is the variation between true and magnetic north. So what happens is like the Earth is round and it has these poles. And so there's a magnetic north and there's a true north. Longitude lines are based on true north. And so the magnetic north is going to vary depending where you're at in the world. And over time, it will change too. So in this spot, there's an 11-degree variance between true north and magnetic north. Notice the longitude lines are based on true north, whereas the this is the magnetic north. So that's the variation. Oops, let me go back here. All right. So the variation between true and magnetic north. Elizabeth City Airport, ECG, has which type of airspace? This should be an easy one. I really want you to go back and read my airspace, or watch my airspace videos if this one's tough for you. It's blue, magenta, solid, solid, dash, dash. So Bravo airspace is solid blue. Charlie airspace is solid magenta. Delta airspace is dashed blue. Elizabeth City Airport has a dashed blue circle here, so it is Delta airspace. And Echo airspace is dashed magenta or shaded magenta. So this one is actually more than one, but in this case, we would call this a Delta airspace because the main part of it around the airport is Delta. So the answer here would be D as in Delta. However, a couple things, right? First off, I want to tell you this solid blue line is not Bravo airspace. This is a compass. Don't get confused by this. A lot of people get confused by this thing here. It is a compass, not airspace, okay? and you'll see that 0 here is talking about north, 18 is south, 18 is 180. Anyway, don't get confused with that. That's a dashed blue line. That is Delta airspace, not Bravo. This is not airspace. However, this dashed magenta square here is Echo airspace. So this right here, if you're here, you're in Echo airspace. If you're here, you're in Echo airspace. For drone pilots, if you're in airspace that's not Gulf, you need ATC permission. Just know that. But for the test, if you would be right here, that's Echo. Right here in this dashed magenta is Echo. In the center by the airport, that's dashed blue, so that's Delta. Shaded over here, shaded magenta, is Echo. However, shaded magenta starts at how many feet? Pause the video and tell me. It starts at 700 feet AGL in the shaded area. So if you're over here, you can fly your drone here. You can fly your drone here as long as you're under 700 feet, right? You cannot fly your drone in here without ATC permission. You cannot fly your drone down here without ATC permission. What does this blue upside down V symbol represent? This is representing a tower or some sort of obstruction. And here I'm kind of messing with you with the AGL and MSL as the FAA will do. So if it's in parentheses and below, that's AGL. If it's up here, that bigger number is an MSL. MSL is a mean sea level. So this would be AGL right here. So it's an obstruction that is 320 feet above ground level. Sometimes on the test, they'll ask you MSL, what's the MSL of that obstruction? You got to be able to distinguish the two. Again, I have a separate video on this. If you want to go back and watch that video, I recommend you do so. It talks about these towers here and how to recognize the height of the towers and know the difference between the MSL and AGL. Again, AGL is in parentheses. MSL is the bold one up top. For a drone pilot, probably AGL matters more, but for the test, you need to know both. You've been hired to use your drone to inspect the tower located northeast of the Elizabeth City Airport, ECG. Will you need a waiver permission to fly your drone to inspect this tower, assuming you want to fly to the highest maximum altitude? How high are you allowed to fly above a tower? 400 feet above that tower. So if the tower is 100 feet tall, you can now fly to a height of 500 feet, right? So just so you know. So you want to fly to the maximum above altitude. So that means you want to fly 400 feet above the tower. Will you need a waiver? So let's look at this. So there's the airport and you want the tower northeast. So I'm talking about this tower right here. On the test, they'll sometimes give you a measurement like 4 statute miles. In another video, I showed you how to find that scale on there and measure that out. This video, I'm not going to do that. I don't have the scale on here, but it's the only tower northeast of the airport, right? So, okay. This tower, it says that it's 236 feet AGL. So that means we can fly to a height of 636 feet AGL because we're allowed to fly 400 feet over the tower. However, the question is, will you need a waiver to fly your drone to inspect this tower? Absolutely yes. Yes, you'll need a waiver because you're in this dashed magenta area right here. So you're in ATC air, or you're in controlled airspace. So you'll need ATC permission. Even if you only wanted to fly 2 feet off the ground, you would need ATC permission because you're in that airspace. However, if you were right here, right just outside of that dashed magenta line, if you were going to fly to 636 feet, would you need ATC permission? No. No, because remember this shaded magenta line is meaning that Echo airspace starts at 700 feet. So you're fine below 700 feet. You do not need ATC permission if you were above a tower. Now, you're not above a tower over here, so you can only fly to 400 feet. But you still wouldn't need ATC permission. But say you were above this tower, not in a maximum amount, but let's just say you wanted to fly right above this tower and you wanted to fly to 500 or 600 feet, you'd be fine because you're below 700 feet. Now, if you wanted to fly the 400 feet above this tower to be at 900 feet, then you would need ATC permission because you're above that 700 feet near that in that shaded magenta area. Okay, so So the answer is yes, because you were flying in Class Echo airspace. I want you to know this one. I think I've talked about it before, but I'll just briefly go over it. Directions written on the sectional chart maps and wind directions written in METAR reports are based on true north. Know the difference here. There's magnetic north. If it's a radio, so if they're saying somebody calls over the radio and says they're flying in this direction, that's magnetic north. Anything, if it's said, it's magnetic north. If it's seen, so if it's in print, it must be true. If it's in print, it must be true, right? So if it's written, it's in true north. So heard or spoken, magnetic north, written, true north. Which direction? I'm not going to go over this one. I'm going over that in other videos. All right. I want to hit a few more here. So this is a different test, but same stuff. I want to kind of go over the airspace stuff again with you. Some airspace questions. One difference between the Minto Airport and the Garrison Airport is that, okay, let's check these two out. We're looking for figure 21. So let's go over to our trusty map here. Again, I like to click on contents and let me get this stuff. Okay, let me do this first. Okay, there we go. And then figure 21, there's my figure 21. These take a little bit sometimes. All right, figure 21. Come on, it'll be slow. Zoomed out too much. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey, don't do that to me. All right, so I need to find my Garrison and my okay, there's my Garrison Airport. And where is old Minto? I haven't looked at this one in a while. Okay, here's Minto, there's Garrison. Just from looking at these here, first thing I noticed, go ahead and tell me what the airspace is on both of those. So pause the video and tell me. So what's the airspace of Minto? Dashed blue line. Okay, so that's correct. If you said that it's Delta, this is a Delta airspace. Obviously, this area over here in dash magenta would be Echo. This solid blue line is not airspace, that's a compass. So this would be Delta airspace, this Minto Airport. Over down here, we have the we have the Echo that starts at 700 AGL, not at ground level. So if it had that dash magenta line, it would be at ground level. But this one, you could fly your drone right over here without ATC permission as long as you stay below 700 feet, because this shaded magenta means the airspace starts at 700 feet. So that's the big difference there. Let's see if that answered our question. One difference between the Minto Airport and the Garrison Airport is the Minto Airport is public, the Garrison Airport is private. The Minto Airport has a hard surface area. The Minto Airport has a control tower, but the Garrison Airport does not have a control tower. So and that's the correct answer. So the Minto Airport has a control tower. Garrison Airport does not have a control tower. How do I know that? The Garrison Airport is in magenta and the Minto Airport is blue. So therefore it has a control tower. And right now I'm just going over the questions that require us to use maps. This one kind of does, kind of doesn't. Why would the small flag at the Lake Drummond of the sectional chart be important to a remote pilot? So if you know what it's talking about by the small flag, you really don't actually have to look at the sectional chart here. The answer is that this small orange flag is a Vfr checkpoint for manned aircraft, and a higher volume of air traffic should be expected in that area. Let's go look at it though. So figure 20. Okay, and zoom out here. Sorry, it's slow. Whoa. Okay, so let's find our Lake Drummond Airport, or Lake Drummond area, whatever it might be. Is this it? Lake Drummond. Okay, so it's talking about this thing right here. So area 2. And this little flag is saying this is a VFR checkpoint, so visual flight reference checkpoint. So if you're flying an airplane and you're not using instruments, you're using your eyes, then you might see that flag and it kind of it's a checkpoint area. So you might see more planes in that area, and it's just kind of letting you know as a drone pilot. This is a question that's actually really useful for us drone pilots. Like for drone pilots, hey, there might be more manned aircraft in this area. Just be careful, okay? That's what that one's saying. If you were inspecting high-intensity lights on top of the towers 5.5 nautical miles southwest of the Savannah International Airport, would you need prior ATC authorization? So it's figure 23. Let's check that out. Let me zoom this out. 23. Okay, figure 23. And here we are. Okay, so Savannah International Airport. Savannah's a cool little area. Okay, so you're inspecting the high-intensity lights on top of the towers 5.5 nautical miles southwest of the Savannah Airport. Would you need authorization? So do I have my, there should be somewhere over here a legend. These things are tough to use sometimes because it's like, you know, it just moves so erratically. So nautical miles here, I'm just going to use my fingers. I know you can't see my fingers, but kind of measure it. And then, whoops, touch screen, I guess. Okay, so we're talking about, looks like we're talking about this one. Okay, so let's say that a situation happened where I'm not sure if I'm talking about this one or this one. I know that the question asked me if you were inspecting the high intensity lights on top of the towers. Okay, that helps me know which one it is. These are both southwest of the airport, right? So this would be west, this is south, there's southwest. This does not have high intensity lights. These little things here, those are high intensity lights. So I know it's talking about this tower, not this tower, if I wasn't sure. So in that case, would I need ATC authorization? All right, so this one gets tricky. This one's actually a good question. So right here, this tower is 1,532 feet AGL. Remember, the top number is MSL, the bottom number is AGL. So 1,532 feet AGL. And we see that this class Charlie airspace, it is 41/13. What that means is we add 2 zeros to get this, the floor and the ceiling of this airspace. So this airspace, this Charlie airspace, starts at 1,300 feet and it goes up to 4,100 feet, MSL, by the way. That's MSL. The only one that's AGL is Echo. And so in this case, there's the MSL. The MSL and the AGL here in the Savannah area, it's a low-lying area. It's near the coast, so they're pretty much the same anyway, as you can see. But in either case, we're over 1,300 feet, right? So therefore, we're clearly in Class Charlie airspace. And so that should be the answer to the question, yes, because you're in Class Charlie airspace. You're definitely not in Class Bravo airspace, right? Now, sometimes, not sometimes, like all the time, the FAA wants to try to trick you like every way they can. It's like what they do. They like hire tricksters to make these tests or something. So I do want you to be aware of something because you might run into a harder question than this one. Actually, this one's not that hard. Let's say this tower was 1,200 feet, okay? 1,250 feet. Let's say this tower was 1,250 feet. Would we need ATC authorization? And they'll give you one like this. They gave me one like this. They'll probably give you one like this. It's a tricky one. Well, you come up here and you'll be like, 1,300 feet. Nah, I'm good. I don't need ATC authorization. I'm not in Class Charlie airspace, right? I'm below 1,300 feet. So I'm good. I don't need their authorization. I can fly all day long above this tower, right? Wrong. Because what happens is once you pass 1,200 feet AGL, once you get above 1,200 feet AGL, you are now in Class Echo airspace everywhere. Even if there's no airport, even if you're in the middle of nowhere town, you're in nowhere. There's no town, there's nothing, you're in the middle of nowhere. Once you get above 1,200 feet AGL, you are in Class Echo airspace. So if this was 1,250 feet, let's say, or 1,210 feet AGL, and you wanted to fly above that tower, just to the very top of it, to 1,210 feet, you still would need still need FAA or ATC authorization because you are now in Class Echo airspace at 1,200 feet. And they will give you a question like this, but the question will say, Yes, you'll need ATC authorization because you're in Echo airspace, not Charlie. Now, in this case, the answer is you're in Charlie because you exceeded that floor of the airspace of 1,300 feet. I hope that makes sense. If that does not make sense, what I just said, please put a comment in the comment section below and ask me to go over this very question again. Say the Savannah question. Just say, hey, go over the Savannah question again. I was totally confused by what you said with that Echo and Charlie airspace, okay? If you need me to do that, I'll do that. But just for the answer to this one, you're in Charlie. Yes, you need ATC authorization. If you were at 1,150 feet, though, you would not need ATC authorization. You're below that Charlie and you're below that universal Echo. So if you were at 1,150 feet AGL, you're good as gold. And you do not need ATC authorization. Let's keep going here, shall we? We did these before. I'm going to skip that one. I think there's one more I wanted to do. Refer to figure 25. The airspace directly overlying Fort Worth Mccamm International Airport, FTW, is what? So the airspace directly over FTW is what? So we're looking for figure 25. Let me zoom out a bit. Go to my table of contents over here. It's going to be slow. Come on. Zoom out a little bit more. All right, too much. Sorry. There we go. All right, 25. Okay, this is an airspace I saw on my test like 5 times. I had other students who saw this exact airspace. I'm not saying you will. You may not. You will definitely see one that's as complicated as this. You're going to get a Bravo airport, okay? Meaning like a big city hub airport like Dallas or Newark or Miami, something like that. I got this specific one on my test, like 5 different questions. Okay, so we're looking for area 4. Use those areas. They do help you. The thing that's so hard about this airspace, this is the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport airspace over here. What's so tough is this is a massive airport. But what's so even tougher is look how many airports are in this airspace. There's obviously the big one, Dallas-Fort Worth, which is a Bravo. But then look, there's a Delta here. Here's another Delta. There's all these little private airports over here. There's some Echoes, Echo, Echo, Delta, just all over the place here. Privates, Echoes, Echoes, you know, Delta. I mean, there must be like Delta. There must be like 30 airports in this one airspace. That makes it tough. Guess which airport we're not looking at? Dallas-Fort Worth, right? We're not looking at DFW. We're looking at the Mccamm, right? Isn't that what it said? Where is it at? Right here. Fort Worth Mccamm International Airport, FTW. Don't get confused by that. They do this to trick you on purpose. They're trying to make you think you're over here, right? They're trying to make you think you're in Dallas-Fort Worth. So the airspace directly overlying the Fort Worth Airport, the FTW, is what? So they want you to pick this wrong answer of Bravo, thinking you're in Dallas-Fort Worth. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay. So the correct answer is going to be a Delta. This Fort Worth Mccamm Airport is a dashed blue line right here. So that's Delta airspace, right? This, if you were right here, that's Bravo. But this right here is Delta up until 3,200 feet. Then once you get above 3,200 feet, you're no longer in this airspace. That's when you're probably over in the Fort Worth airspace. Because you see it has those outer rings. But remember, like this outer ring, well, that's not the one. This outer ring looks like it's at probably it's at 3,000 feet. So 30 add 2 zeros, you're at 3,000 feet. So this outer blue ring here doesn't start, this one here that this Mccamm is kind of in, it doesn't start until 3,000 feet. Or wait, that's not even 4,000 feet. Sorry, I didn't see this line here. That's why this is so confusing. See this line? So this is the one that the FTW is in. So it starts at 4,000 feet. So from ground to 3,200 feet, you're in that Delta. Above 3,200 feet, I suppose you'd probably be in Echo until you get to 4,000 feet, in which now you're in Bravo. So that would be the answer here, you're in Delta airspace to 3,200 feet MSL. If you got questions on that one, ask me, but you're going to have complicated ones like that. I think that's it. I think that's everything I wanted to go over. Let me check. Yeah. All right. That's it. All right. So, hey, thank you for watching Mr. Mick's Classroom. Please remember to like and subscribe my videos. It really helps the algorithm. If you have any questions or you want me to go over any other content, please tell me. If you want me to go over drone stuff, tell me. Put it in the comments section. Hey, I want you to talk about your DJI Mini or your Mavic Pro 2 or your whatever. Could you do a review on this, or could you fly a drone and put it on there? Whatever you want. You want me to go over more Part 107 stuff? I will. I think a lot of people have been really liking these videos. And that's why I ask you to give me a thumbs up. If you're liking these videos and you're watching these videos, that's all I ask. Subscribe, thumbs it up, put in a comment. Tell me that you enjoy watching it. It means a lot. The comments mean a lot to me. I'm just a public high school teacher, so I like seeing your comments, knowing that I'm helping folks out. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.